Now that I've created the final part and created the new assembly, I want to update my drawings. First thing I'll do is I'll go to the bottom and I'll add a sheet. Sometimes SOLIDWORKS will do this and load a blank sheet on you. When it does, I'm going to collapse these items. Go to the last sheet, the one you just loaded, right click on it, select Properties. For the sheet size, just select Standard Sheet Size and browse to wherever you've saved your sheets. I'm going to go into my sheets. Now I want to add another B-size sheet. The original sheets were inch. So I'm going to continue with the inch size sheets. I'll choose my B ANSI inch sheet, say open, tell it to apply the changes, and each sheet I add now will be this sheet. I also want this new sheet to be the very first sheet. So I'm going to click on it and hold and drag it over so it's the first sheet ahead of this sheet. I can rename it now or I can rename it later. I'm going to rename this sheet by right clicking on it and choosing rename, and I'll just call it the quick release. I'll click anywhere to accept that. And next I'm going to come to the view palette and I want to navigate to my part. I'll go to my assembly, select it and open it. Since it's an assembly, I don't want to bring in annotations. I'll uncheck import the annotations. Then I'm going to bring in my isometric collapse view. I'll place it. I prefer these with shaded with edges and high quality. I'll accept that. Then I'll come back again to the view palette and I'll drag in my isometric view and place it over here. Show it with shaded with edges and high quality and say okay. And then some reminders. All right, all this down here comes from the properties. So it needs to be fixed in the properties of my assembly to populate the sheet correctly. So to open the assembly, I'm going to right click. I'm going to tell it to open the assembly. Then I'm going to go File, Properties. I'm going to fill in all the properties properly, save them, rebuild, and then the drawing will update properly. For now, I'm just going to do one property, the description. But make sure you fill in all of your properties correctly. So I'm going to turn on caps lock. And I'm going to call this the PU50 quick release. Say OK. Rebuild. Save that. Now when I close this, the title block is updated. I need to do that for all of my properties to correct this. I'll zoom out. I'm going to take a second and I'm just going to neaten up these views by trying to equal the space between them and on each edge, get them nicely centered. The scale looks good. So the next thing I need to do is, typically for assemblies we don't say what the material is. So I'm going to remove the notes from this sheet. I'm going to right click, choose Edit Sheet Format, select the notes and push delete on my keyboard to remove them. Then I'll stop editing the sheet. In the next video, we'll add balloon items, a bill of materials, and magnetic lines.